Hey everyone, Mike Hargan from Shoeboxed.com here, sitting down today with the founder of LiveCA.ca, Josh Zweig. How's it going, Josh?
Very good. How you doing, Mike?
Wonderful. So for those of you who aren't familiar with LiveCA, it's the first service of its kind to offer completely virtual accounting services and tax planning assistance to small business owners and entrepreneurials alike. So I guess just jumping into the questions, if you could, Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background in accounting, why LiveCA got started, and kind of what gave you the idea to get it going.
Sure. Okay. Well, look, I spent almost 7 years in public practice. I was at a traditional accounting firm, and, we would do things. There'd be tons and tons of paper everywhere. And, there's so much technology out there today, and I would always be amazed at the way we still do things, which is, the same way we did things 10 years ago. And I had tons of clients come in, sort of in that Gen Y category, saying, hey, well, look, I don't want to drive down to the office, and, every time I have to sign, can we just scan it and I'll send it to you? So, that makes sense, obviously, so we'll do that. And then people said, well, I don't want to drive down to the office and, pay for parking and wait in the waiting room and spend time just to do our 20-minute meeting to go over financials. Can we do this on Skype? So I thought, yeah, for sure we can do this on Skype. And I started to do a lot of meetings on Skype, and I found that the meetings were actually a lot more effective because, when people don't have to get out of their house and drive somewhere, it's a lot more comfortable. You're not sitting across a big wooden desk. It's just a very friendly and accessible way to talk to your accountant. So the meetings were a lot more effective, not to mention that you save all this time, traveling to your accountant. So I did a search online. I thought, okay, well, there's got to be tons of other accountants that do this because, this technology has been here for years. And I found in Canada where there wasn't a single accounting firm that at the very least positions itself as being an online accounting firm, being able to meet with your CA face-to-face. So that was sort of my light bulb moment, and I thought, okay, well, I got to do this because if I don't do this, somebody else is going to do this.
So what would you list as a few of the main advantages for using LiveCA and virtual accounting versus the traditional in-house accountant?
Yeah, so one, I guess, is just attitude. It's, the same way kind of Shoeboxed positions itself. It's very kind of friendly software. You come to the website, you trust it and it's friendly. It's not this like corporate kind of image. So for attitude with LiveCA, same kind of deal, no mahogany desk kind of thing. We're very accessible. You can Skype chat with us. You could SMS us. You can, anything you can think of, the same kind of communication that you use with your friends, you use with us. You have an accounting question, no problem. Jump on a online meeting for even 2 or 3 minutes, and get your question out of the way, and that's it. So one is that type of attitude, the relationship, and that's kind of what we bring to the table. And the other part is look, I mean, in my mind, there's tremendous value if your accountant knows technology. Today, accounting is no longer just about a guy that can crunch the numbers, but rather a guy that knows technology. There's so much tech out there that can make businesses a lot more efficient. I mean, that's what you guys do. So if your accountant can come and say, hey, you're still inputting your data from receipts, send your receipts to Shoeboxed. They'll pull the data from you. You'll save tons of hours a month. That's tremendous value that accounting can add to your business. Now that's a lot of time savings. So the number two part is an accountant that understands technology can add tremendous value to a business.
Absolutely. And I'm also sure that small business owners who tend to be on the road a lot and who might have a question and wouldn't be able to meet with their accountant right then, it's definitely got to be super helpful for them to just be able to hop online with you and get that question taken care of versus having to wait until they get back.
100%. There's no question that mobile apps are sort of the newest generation of most popular apps because people are all on the go all the time. And that's pretty much what people want is a way of communicating on the go. And that's, yeah, like you said, that's what we bring to the table.
Exactly. So, Josh, with you being up in Canada and us being down here in North Carolina, what would you say some of the major differences are between small business accounting practices in Canada versus kind of what we have here?
Well, I can tell you, look, I mean, I've spoken to a number of CPAs, cloud-based CPAs in the States, and I mean, my feeling is that the mentality in the States is a lot farther ahead than the mentality in Canada. A lot of cloud accounting software comes first to the States, that's their market, and then they kind of trickle to Canada. I mean, we do have in Canada, we've got Wave Accounting and FreshBooks that both started in Toronto. But really, if you look at the history of cloud accounting, it's kind of in the States. And you can also see with the accounting firms that are popping up, you've got cloud accountants in the States much more than you have in Canada. So that's where I think it's really a mentality difference. My hope is that, Shoeboxed, or at least companies like Shoeboxed will move, their focus as well from the States to Canada, because we definitely need this.
Wonderful. So kind of going off of that point as well, I know you've been doing this for a few years, working with small business owners and entrepreneurs. What type of, just general type, maybe accounting advice or advice in general, would you be willing to share with some small business owners or people considering starting their own business?
Yeah, so number one, I'd say, the days where you could go, a couple of years ago, you could go to the Business Depot, pick up a copy of QuickBooks or Sage or whatever it was, and hit the CD-ROM to your computer, and that's it. That's what you do for accounting for the next couple of years. Those are over. Accounting is now very tech-driven, which means that it's something you have to revisit on a constant basis. So accounting is dynamic. So I would say to business owners that are out there is, number one, revisit your accounting software on a dynamic basis. Always pick an accountant that understands tech, so that you can touch base with them every so often and say, hey, are there any other apps out there that can make my life easier? Can I automate payroll? Can I automate my receipts? Well, what else can I do to make my business run more efficient? So that's on the tech side. And then the actual accounting part, the more boring part is a lot of businesses, when they first start, they kind of don't want to worry about all this, all this sort of tax paperwork that they have to do. And then what happens is a couple months down the road, they run into all these problems with, the CRA or, the IRS, whatever it is, because they didn't spend a couple minutes just to speak to an accountant to say, okay, well, let's make sure this structure is right. So I always say, no matter what, if you're starting a new thing, it's always good to talk to a professional. If it's a 20-minute meeting, that might be just enough, just to get an idea of issues that should be in your radar as you go ahead. So
maybe diving into that just a little more, do you have any advice for choosing maybe a specific accounting software? We did a thing a few months back at Shoeboxed kind of detailing the different types and how that might align with your business. Do you have any accounting softwares that you kind of tend to lean towards?
Good question. I think choosing the cloud, cloud accounting software is for small business. I think it's a no-brainer. Now, there's tons of cloud accounting softwares out there. So yeah, the question is, what's the best for my business? I think it depends on a few factors. One is really a personal preference. It's really a UI experience. So is the Xero platform is really, really nice. But to be honest, the Wave platform is also nice. Same with Cashew. It's just with Wave, you've got sort of banners of different, that vendors that come out. With Xero, you don't. So from a user interface perspective, that's going to be a question. The second one is going to be price. Wave is free, Xero costs money, FreshBooks costs money, but the differences in price are not that big. But if you're really, really price sensitive, then that might be something to consider, because Wave is really the only free cloud accounting software out there. So that might be a factor. And the other one is reporting. So it really depends on how big your business is. Look, QuickBooks is like, it's the founder of accounting. So their reporting is amazing. If you've got a very, very detailed business and you need to know job profitability, very specific, or customers around different provinces of Canada, that might be something you're interested in. If you have if you have a small and sort of simple business, a store, or a restaurant where your reporting is not that complicated, sure, any company like Xero or Wave or FreshBooks, that might just do the trick. So I think it really depends on how the nature of your business, and that's why it's good to speak to a professional, because he can give you an idea of what software will really match your business needs.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for that, Josh. So one final thing, kind of just as a general takeaway, what would you say are the top 3 most made mistakes that you've seen small business owners make over the years with their accounting?
The top 3 mistakes. Okay. Well, number one is thinking you can do it all. And that's what I learned. I'm an accountant, but I'm also an entrepreneur, right? Thinking you can wear every single hat in your business. I learned very quickly, also the hard way, that you can't. You gotta do what you're good at, and then you gotta get other people that are good at what they do to surround you. So that being said, you're not expected as a small business owner to be an amazing accountant. You shouldn't be. You should be really good at running your own business. So that the number one mistake is thinking that you can be the best, that amazing accountant. And so that's why I say it's always good to speak to, at the very least, speak to a professional to get the idea, to get what kind of issues that should be in your radar. And the second one also ties into what we've been talking about, which is not, thinking that accounting is static. Basically thinking that, okay, I got this software, I'm done. And it's not the case because you need to revisit all the time. There's all kinds of apps that can make your business more efficient. So it's really a dynamic process. So that's step two. And number three, okay, if I have to think of another, big area where they don't, I guess it's planning. I guess that sort of ties into what we've been speaking about. But if you know what issues are on your radar, and if you know what accounting software is out there, then you can really plan accordingly. Deciding salary or dividends or whatever, cash flow. A lot of business run into areas where they're like, well, what's my cash flow like? How do I take out money out of my business? And these are questions that come down, 6 or 7 months down the road. Whereas if you got the right technology and you spoke to somebody in the beginning, you did the right planning, you could save tons of hours as you go down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So before we end, Josh, is there any other piece of advice or anything else about LiveCA that you'd like to share with people watching this video?
Yeah, look, I keep driving this home, but like I said, accountants and technology, they're hand in hand. They're very closely related these days. An accountant understands technology, can add tremendous value to your business, and that's what we're trying to portray at LiveCA. And that's what I hope that other accountants as well would just embrace that fact and say, you know what, you're right, times are changing. There is sort of a revolution in the accounting industry. Just like we learn about tax laws coming up all the time, I need to educate myself about technology. And that's going to make me a better accountant, and that's going to make my clients happier.
Thank you. Well, Josh from LiveCA.ca, I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me.
Thanks a lot, Michael.
Take care.
All right. Bye.